Tip number 4, mixed tip number 4, I think is where we are. Let's talk about EQing. Now, it's going to be really hard for me to squeeze all this into a 3-minute video, but I am going to just pound you with a bunch of go-to EQ settings for each instrument on stage, okay? Kick drum, typically, you want the bottom end of the kick to be around 50 or 60 hertz. Depending on what you're doing, if you're on a big line array rig, you can get down to 40, 45 hertz and really shake people's guts. The attack is typically around 3K, 2.5 to 3.5. You can sweep around there and find a sweet spot for the attack there. Snare drum, I usually roll off some bottom end so it's not getting a bunch of bleed from the kick. I usually give it a little bit of 3K. You're going to find a 3K brings a lot of definition into a lot of things. Toms are very subjective as to how they have them tuned. You know, I like my floor tom to kind of sound like a smaller kick drum, so it's got a nice thump to it, but then there's some attack. That attack on all the drums really is going to be around that, 3K mark, 4K mark, something like that. Bass guitar, I usually find the meat of the bottom end between 100 and 250, depending on the player, his approach to the instrument itself, what kind of processing that he's using. A lot of the tone is right up the middle at 1K, 1000 hertz. With the bass, usually anything over like 2K or whatever is kind of fret noise. If you're going for that, that's fine. I know a bunch of metal guys that like a lot of 4K in their bass guitar because it gives them, that fret noise attack kind of, feel or whatever. Guitar, I usually roll off the bottom end of a guitar, usually around 75, 80 hertz, depending on, what it is. I kind of leave the mid-range alone because that's where most of the meat of the guitar is. If the guitar is kind of muddy, I'll add some 3K to it. If it's bright, I may take away some 3K to it. Or what I usually do is instead of taking away the 3K, I'll pull down like 300 or 400 hertz, maybe up to 500 hertz in that. Vocals, I roll off at like 130 to 150. I know that sounds like a lot, but once it's in the program and the band's playing, you'll find that it's not. It'll clean your vocals up. And then I'm just kind of correct for the system or for the room with vocals. Most of that EQing is like the mud is around 350, 400. The harshness is around 2.5. Keyboards I leave alone because they do a lot of work at the factory to make keyboards right. I usually don't EQ keyboards much at all. Sometimes that EQ is completely off, believe it or not. So I hope that helped you. Tip number 4, EQing.